African soldiers now. African soldiers support for freedom. Some are dead and some are living. Those that are dead are still fighting on. Those that are living are still fighting. Shaka Zulu, African soldier. And listen, let's say African soldier. Now they're thinking way African soldier. Women, Gruma, African soldier. Jomo Kenyatta, African soldier. Patrice Lumumba, African. The greatest glory Marcus Garvey, African soldier. In living African soldiers. Is usually not falling, show your power, free your people now. But rising every time when you fall. From economic the way to stop is to quit talking and being doing. From economic progress, oh, save your people. From political yabis, I say set up free. Your time is limited. Attention, African soldiers. So don't waste it. We're still calling African soldiers. Do not waste your time living someone else's life. And don't be trapped by living someone else's dream. Always live with die today. Started like that would be a sun today. Good morning to the people of Liberia from wherever you follow this morning. My name is Grace Joshua, and we are here this morning as usual to serve you breakfast. I will be seated with Sam Andrews this morning, and this morning will be hot because there are a lot of training issues on our plate as usual. Those following from Facebook line, you just drop your comments. We will be glad to read them. And thank you every morning for following and making this radio station your number one. This is what's on my brain. This is the program Good Morning Live. So we have few training issues that we will be looking at this morning. And one of these things involved that President Weah showed that if he's re-elected for the second time, will make the payment of WAS be perpetual. And also from the first to sixth grade in all public schools will be tuition-free policies. That's something that is highly welcoming from my end, and we all know the struggle we have when it comes to uh, education in this country, making sure that our children have access to quality education, and how we can be able to tap in to buttress how the government can buttress um, family, the single parent efforts in making sure that our children are educated. And for public schools in this situation, free policies is something that anyone will welcome. And making the payment of WAS perpetual is also highly welcome because we know that the challenges parents have across the country in payment of WAS fees. So if he will be re-elected, that's the Liberian people decision, though. But these are some of the things. And also graduation, payment of graduation fee for all public schools, something that is also on his plate as he addressed it yesterday in Congo time, especially at his party headquarters. Yesterday was a huge gathering where he also sent his thanks to citizens that turned up, especially citizens yesterday to support him for the second term. And also on our plate, we have the government has denied stage managing fire outbreak at the finance ministry. So yesterday we were on this radio when that incident occurred. There was a fire outbreak at the Ministry of Finance. Anshus, how are you? Yeah. So yesterday at the finance ministry we saw that there was a huge huge outbreak of on a third floor to be precise. And yet people like for me, I don't really take it needs to be like you don't politicize certain issues for me. When it comes to the accident, all these things, I think we should stop politicizing these things. Because normally these are issues that happens. Okay? If you say you want to get rid of incident and happenings that naturally occur and link it to politics, then you will be placing yourself in a limo because anyone could be a victim, just anyone. So politicizing this are usually not not correct. Okay. Cummins declares establishment of the War and Economic Crime Court and others as precondition for supporting any candidate in a runoff election. Come to think of it, I really hail Mr. Alexander Cummings for this one. Okay, every time we sit on the radio, we talk about the establishment of war in economic crime court. We keep calling for people that are invest or take public fundings for their own good. We keep talking about how we can be able to work and make sure that people that are involved in social acts be brought to justice and those that are committed huge or crimes during the civil war be able to focus and pay for their crimes. So these are some of the issues we are faced with in our country. And if Alexander Cummings from the CPP can actually be giving this as a record say to those that he will eventually support or those that want him to come on the team, I think there should not even be an option for the both political parties. I think there should not even be an issue because war and economic transport will benefit almost all Liberians. I don't know what you stand on this.
Not necessarily the war and economic crimes court that they or you think that they try to make an essential issue. Coming or either one of them, be it coming Tiawan Gonglo, the war and economic crimes issue or court is not the issue. It's not substantial to decide which side they go on. No. Cummins was set a precondition. Tiawan Gonglo didn't set. But your emphasis is on Tiawan Gonglo. He has already endorsed or he has gone the way of Joseph Boakai, that he thinks that it is necessary to support an opposition because he had been in the opposition and he should align with the opposition. The conditions said, Jermaine, they are good conditions, but he just want to be on the opposition side. And what you have or what is happening now, there is a little bit of confusion because they had a full conference and the party's chairman, Yankwe Zaza, will do that press conference or release the press statement. But in a runoff, in a runoff grades, it is optional. It is optional. Everybody will want everybody on the side from the very first day the National Elections Commission announced the runoff. You saw President Weah, Joe Barker running at the home of Alexander Cummings to get his support. Prior to that, the telephone calls, conversations were on, and proxy proxy negotiations were taking place. That is, the party would send certain people to talk to certain people. All of those things were happening prior to. So when NEC announced now, everybody moving here there. So they need people. They need everybody this time around because the second round at first it was absolute majority. Now, to get that absolute majority, uh, geographically, it looks possible on paper, but practically, no. That is why we didn't get 50 plus 1% as the Constitution requires. So it shifts now from absolute majority to simple majority. That means even if Grace get one vote ahead of St. Andrews, Grace wins. So now every vote is important. Everybody. If Grace got or ended the first round with two votes, Grace is significant because assume that she gave for two votes to the next person, and there's a tie and Grace went and voted. She gave those two votes, the person wins. So everybody is significant. So they've been crisscrossing event. But to set a precondition or what they're using, in my opinion, no, it doesn't show anything substantive. Yeah, because they talk about these are things you couldn't have put it any better. These are things that people talk about. Media people talk about it, civil society, the politicians themselves. Everybody will talk about it years back. Years back. So it can be a precondition to support either one of the two. It can be a precondition. It is either, yes, I'm going the way of President Weah because of XYZ. I'm going the way of George Walker because of XYZ preference.
Yeah,
Simple.
yeah. Looking at Kewon Gunglo and his support to the opposition, had the opportunity yesterday while going home to gather the view of Liberians on the issue. So I was like, what do you make of this second round now that Councillor Gonglo has pledged his support to Joseph Boakai, the main opposition? This lady said, "Oh, well, we already know that that's a Nima solidarity." So for me, I knew that Congo would support Joseph Boakai. So I was like you said it, the prerequisites were not listed by Congo in any form. There was no prerequisite for who he would support uh, based on what if their own party manifesto is in line with that party manifesto. So I think what the oppositions are doing, we don't know. We can't speculate yet. Maybe
No,
they will form. Yeah,
some of those things were laid out. They didn't release the full statement
yeah.
from the party's chairman yesterday, Yankwe Zeze. Let's have a listen to him.
On our expectation that the party that we choose to support will do the following in the first 100 days of this administration. One, take measurable steps to improve the rule of law through strengthening law enforcement and the independence of the judiciary. Two, publish the asset declaration of all officials of government along with their salaries and benefits. Begin quarterly lifestyle audits of officials of government in the executive branch. Five, take steps towards the investigation of all section officials in government with the assistance of the U.S. government. Six, take steps towards the establishment of a war and economic crimes court. Seven, increase the budget percentage to begin mechanized agriculture and increase percentage for education, agriculture, and health to be at least 15% each in the 2024 national budget and to put proper workstation in 15 counties in order to improve the freedom of movement during the rainy season. Upon its failure to meet these expectations, we will be the first to condemn and criticize the fellow Liberians, partisans, supporters, and well wishers of Liberia. Today, we are faced with extremely difficult choice between two parties that were fiercely criticized by our partisans and supporters at home and abroad. From the broad consultations that we have conducted among our partisans and supporters at home and abroad, as well as our conclusion that the party CDC in power placed Liberia in a virtual intensive care unit. We hereby declare that our party will support the only opposition UP that was chosen by the Liberian people to compete with the ruling party CDC.
Okay. Like I was saying, uh, the fact that this was done on the day that they openly pledged their support to Unity Party, unlike Alexander Cummings, who has to come up with a record saying they attach to him supporting openly, they attach to him supporting everybody to uh, this second round, like Ugo Une did on the day he was mentioning his support. So this is something that I was trying to talk about. But better still, you openly make their position, and I like the part where they talk about that if, just if the Unity Party government, if elected, don't live up to their record say they give, which is access declaration and others, they will be the first to criticize. They will be the first to come up and give their position statement if what Unity Party, uh, if they are elected. So
So
that was the voice of Zaza, yeah, speaking and making his own contribution to this program. Andrew, so far that's where we are.
They, like I say, they are not anything new.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I think if people are crossing over, or you can set preconditions right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
you can set preconditions. Most of the political parties are not getting it right in the second round. You can set preconditions right now. Those preconditions that you set now or they set now will talk about before.
Yeah.
They aren't news. All that Zizi said were things that people talk about. So it is just a proposal, in my opinion. And I want to believe that's how they presented it, that if you are elected, these are the things that we expect you to do. So if you can honor these or you can insert these in your manifesto, or if you are elected and you can do them, then we'll break away. But they aren't news at all. It's all fair that you just say we're supporting this person because of X, Y, Z. And whatever the document you have, that can be internal. That can be internal. You don't have to bring it to the public and setting them as preconditions.
The problem here is even if you bring that to the public, how sure are you that this person would live up to what you want them to live up to? This
Yeah,
should be
Grace,
discussed behind the scene.
whether that person lives up to it or not, it is internal. It is internal. You take it behind the scene. You people can discuss it. But what the public consumption, what you can give to the public to feed on or to consume is we have decided as an institution to support Joe Barker or George Weah based on these
These
factors.
reasons.
The people don't want preconditions. They want why. If you can provide them the why, it's what they want to hear. Nobody is interested in hearing about war and economic crimes code. You will be prosecuted. If I am in a race or in runoff, and anybody brought that to me,
I would
listen,
just
I will know that you aren't serious. You don't. You're not showing any loyalty, any commitment. That even if it is a commitment, is cosmetic. It's not really genuine. You can do that. All you have to do is, okay, we heard you. You crisscross the country, and in our opinion, these are the problems. So we can align with you to help you tackle these problems. If you watch President Weah's address yesterday, he didn't romanticize his address. He said, now I have a clear understanding, having traveled across the country. So what I have seen, all of those bits and pieces, now I'm back in the capital. We'll put all those bits and pieces together, ready to address them. But these are the things I beg you, I want you people to give me your vote on. If I'm elected, if you re elect me, all of these will be addressed. So when you are speaking to the people like that, you know what you're doing? Not only are you convincing them, but they are ready. You don't set preconditions. The people have already understood all of those issues. You can say we're supporting Boaga, and Boaga, if you win, you must tackle corruption. Corruption has never ever been tackled in this country, my dear. Nobody gets to that presidency can tackle corruption. This country has trumpeted fight against corruption than any other country in the world. Yet the country is this month at it. So it's not the issue of trumpeting or bragging or ranting. Is what you can do practically that the people are seeing and say, yes, this man is ready. Truly, this man talked less, he acts more. Don't set preconditions. We agree Tewon Gonglo is a good guy with his party. But I think the chairman, as he presents it, in my opinion, that okay, these are things that we have. We expect you to do these things, not bad, but that's not for public consumption. Just say we're supporting Joe Biden because of this. His party is this. His party aligns with us. These accounts in his manifestos that similar to ours, so we can blend his with ours, or we can send those basic info in our platform to him, and then he can do the mixture, and then we move forward in the second round. Because the second round is all about going to convince people. You will go to a giving place to talk and say, we're bringing war and economic crime school. Have they not hear that? Would that be a news? It wouldn't make any difference to the voters. The next person who will go there and talk about their livelihood, taking them to another level, they will listen to that person. And at the close of the day, you were talking about war and economic crimes, called corruption. You're more theoretical, and the other person is practical. They prefer giving their vote to that person who is practical by conviction of what he or she tells them. And at the close of the day, that person wins.
And what I want us to also look at is that the war and economic crime court right now, you can't be telling me, let's do this when my house is on fire. The World Economic Plan is something that we encourage to want, like when people want. But how do you solve the basic needs that the people are yearning for at this stage right now? What are some of these things, like the president addressed yesterday? Talk about education, the from first grade to sixth grade. These are primary education is something that most parents, especially mothers, single mothers, they desperately want. So being practical in this situation, I think what Councillor Bongo thinks should have done was my party manifesto and the Waka manifesto is in line with each other. So because of that, I think the best person to spearhead this team and I can work along with is Ambassador Boakai. Every detail of what you want Boakai to do, every findings, everything you want him to perform, that should be discussed off the scene, like I said, behind closed door. Talk about that. Bring your plane you have, because now you will not be there for the 6 years. Trust me. But you will be working behind the scene. You will not be the forefront travel. But now you're siding with this opposition or this political party. You people will work together as a team. So the place you feel, Ambassador Waka, if you like to have lapses, you can come up with your full expertise and say, okay, I can be able to do this behind the scene at this time. I think that is just
There isn't a guarantee. There isn't a guarantee that when you align with a political party in the runoff and you share your manifesto or part of your manifesto with the expectation of implementation, that's going to be looked at. It's not a guarantee. You can you can propose or you can suggest, and the person can say yes. Your recommendations are good. They fit into ours. And when that person is re-elected or elected, the person can opt not to prioritize it in the immediate, but rather future. And future is unknown. No one knows the future. Some things been hanging from a governance standpoint from Charlie Town till now, but there were assurances given. So nothing is certain until what I'm simply saying, you can make a proposal, say the issue of war and economic crimes code, which is an illusion in Liberia, because the person needs your vote, needs your support in a runoff to say yes. When we get the vote, win the first round, we are going to prioritize the setting up of the war and economic crimes code in Liberia, because the whole thing is psychological. The whole thing is all about persuasion to get the votes. So once that person wins, you can be banging on the person's door every now and then, telling him or her that
You need to
I,
keep your premises.
yeah, we talked about the war crimes code. It was the condition for supporting you in the runoff. You want the runoff. Why now we're not hearing about the war and economic crimes code? Why you aren't doing this? Why? No, you're not going to do that. The person has absolute power already by our governance. By our governance, you can see the signs. The president say is imperial. We have imperial presidency. Everything lies on the lap of the president. The president can decide to look at it after 3 years. He can decide to look at it after 4 years. He can decide to look at it even the last of the six
Or
years.
you can
He
decide
can
never to
decide
look
to
at it.
look at all at all. You can question it. You'll only be running from radio station to radio station, calling press conferences, and just making your voice heard. But beyond that, nothing. So is reasonable enough if they were to just keep it. But again, everybody has their own methodology. They have their own way. They want the public to know that these are the reasons why they align with this political party in the runoff. That is why they did that layout. And it's not wrong in their opinion. But I think they needed to have kept that, state to the public the why of giving their support to um, Joseph Barker. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that because if you just look at the whole thing from where I stand, political parties that were not successful to the runoff should be looking at the manifesto of those in the front round, which is Unity Party and CDC, and just seeing exactly if their own manifesto and their own plan they had is in line with these two political parties. And look at what they are telling the people they can do for the people. It shouldn't be based on maybe the recommendations you would make, and the person just come up and openly say, "Okay, I will do it. I will do it. I will do it." And at the end of the day, you don't have them doing it. So let's look at Alexander Cummings. Um, Alexander Cummings. Uh, let's look at what he has to say.
Yeah, Cummings did constitute a five-member committee on yesterday. The same thing. Initially, or earlier, President Weah had gone to him. Joe Barker too went to him, not at the same time, separate occasions. And according to Cummings, it was by their request. So we'll say in Liberian term, they call Cummings. Cummings did not call them. They call Cummings and say, "We want to see you. We want to talk with you on something significant." And Cummings say, "Okay." In the same Liberian way, they'll come. So President Weah went there and they talk. Then Joe Walker went there and they talk. So you have two separate situations here that place Alexander Cummings in a squeeze situation if he didn't corner him to the wall. One of the two figures is high, is a celebrity, a world icon, who is the president of the country, the chief citizen, the first citizen. The reason I say it this way, it is not a law, it is not anything draconian, but like we say in Liberia, a how to turn the president down. When president calls you, you can say no. I'm going to the president. So with such a personality, with such a high profile figure, and Cummings is a high profile figure too, but no disrespect to him, President Weah is higher than him in terms of stature and standard. So if you have the president going to you, usually you go to the president. Usually people will go to see the president. Often you hear in our country, we're going to see the president, or we met with the president, we went to the president. You hear that expression or those expressions often. Very seldom you will hear that the president is moving to this place, except the president is going to an occasion. But it is not normal for a president to go to a person's house, except somebody from within the president's cycle or his cabinet or somebody that is close to. will move to that person based on the situation, either marriage, like we saw with Kalatko, he went there, or death of people in government or relative or close friends. But you don't see, very seldom you see the president leaving. So if the president would make a request, would do a telephone call to Alexander Cummings to say, my man, I want to see you. And Cummings said, come. That situation there is an interesting one. Whether Cummings will turn down, they discussed. We do not know the cross of their discussion, but we saw pictorials from the president's office. We saw pictorials from Joe Buckey's office, the meeting with Cummings. But the content of the discussion, we do not know. But we can assume, given that the two people are in the runoff, so the meeting centered principally on the runoff, on support. So President Weah went there. They discussed a couple of issues surrounding the elections, the runoff. So then President Weah left. Joe Biden goes there. So Cummings now is in a difficult position. I'm arriving to that committee, why he constituted the committee. He's in a difficult position. Here are some of the factors, great. President Weah and Alexander Cummings have not had any beef. They've been good friends, but they had all along been on either one of the divide politically. Cummings has his political agenda that he will push. President Weah maintains his political agenda that brought him to power the pro-poor. Cummings will argue misrule, mismanagement, circumventing the rule of law, and on and on. Corruption widespread, no accountability. That has been Cummings' position. He had always been realistically critical of the regime, but nothing personal between he and President George Weah. So, in such a situation, you will look at that to soften your stance. Cummings could look at all of those and say, okay, I'm somewhat softened on this. And then President Weah, I can align with him. We were just critical because we needed the right thing to be done for our country. Since I didn't make it to the first round, to the second round, and he made it to the second round, he has come with all due respect to me to seek my support humbly. I can look at my manifesto and share what I think is necessary for him to do that I would have done had I been elected. President Weah, on the other hand, he said, okay, yes, not bad. We can get along. Trust me. And on. I just, the first one, just leave that hanging. You will do the rest. Then, Joe Walker. Why Cummings is in a squeeze position? Joe Walker goes there. Joe Walker needs Cummings' vote. Joe Walker and Cummings got along from 2020, 2021, all the way until their entire CPP got into tatters. They have been good friends. They flowed along. We saw it all around. When the confusion started and it got heated and it landed them in court, their relationship got sour. From that moment until the start of balloting, they were not at ease with each other. Now, the election is over, the first round. Cummings, Walker needs Cummings, like President Weah. They have not been in good relationship. Two, during the elections, before the start of the elections, they were throwing ballistic missiles at each other. They will argue that their content or the reason for getting together was to oust President George Weah. When they split, instead of focusing on the man whom they've decided to take from the presidency, they started to attack each other. Unity Party will attack ANC slash CPP. CPP will attack Unity Party, leaving out the prime target. And like it is said biblically, when you lose sight of the person you perceive to be the enemy, you lose. So they were attacking each other, and time was going. No time to mend fences, no time to reconcile, to put aside their differences, knowing very well that nobody, nobody in our constitution, as it is said, 50 plus one could obtain. So they had time, they weren't thinking that way. At the close of the day, the first round came and passed. Now, do you think that Alexander Cummings, looking at that couple with other things, that they almost went personal with each other if they didn't go, but they almost went personal if you follow that entire episode. Do you think Cummings now will just look at that and say, okay, on the basis of forgiveness, I let it go, I'm aligning with Joe Barker? They tell to wind down. There are the people. You got the people who are around these people. The leader can have his preference, but the leader's preference does not cover everybody individually. Everybody put their political preference in the leader. When the leader doesn't make it to the second round, everybody will start to do individual assessment. That's when individual preferences come in. That means there are people who within Cummings' rank who are favorite of President George Weah, who are favorite of Joe Barker. There are people in Tier 1 Gonglo's camp, individually favorite or love President George Weah or Joe Barker. So these people, they thinking on all of those. Cummings has that. That committee he constituted, as we're about to listen to him, that committee, it is one of the things that the committee is going to look at. The committee is intensive because they have limited time. So they're going to be looking at all of these things. How it's going to be. Assume Cummings move George Weah's way. Some of his people are going to say, but that didn't mean you were criticizing all along. You were saying all kinds of bad things as we say in Labyrinth. Then the masses. So the Cummings mayor who say you can be doing the same old thing all of the time and expect the same result. So he's aligning with the same result.
But the issue right now is that Alexander Cummings, for me, is not placing any squeeze position.
No, it
Yeah,
is a squeeze position. It is a squeeze position. When you are between two people to make a decision with all of the factors on table, it is a squeeze position. It is a difficult situation. Can Cummings come out? All right, okay, if it wasn't a squeeze position, as you said, why he didn't take decision if in the presence of President Weah, in the presence of in the presence
I,
of Joe Barker?
I have a reason why I said he's not in a squeeze position. Maybe from your own analysis, he's in a squeeze position for where I stand. There's a reason why I said that. So if you are true, then maybe I can show light on that. Okay, the reason I said that for me, the CPP for itself, I will just be blunt. The CPP were created, like they said, it came together for a one cause or common goal. And that goal was to unseat the president, which was something that the people massively welcomed. We saw from the June 7th protest. Liberians from all walks of life gathered on June 7th to protest. To the extent that the president could not do anything but to provide food. We saw it, we were here. The CPP was so great that the landslide victory that they don't want. Just look at it. If the CPP has just hold on, Liberians will not be discussing second round with that force they have. So that political marriage was one of the best ever in this country. So now I somehow agree with what you're saying, but on the other hand, if I was police, I will not have time to be squeezing myself or worrying about choosing a side, or I will just remain mute and just wait. Okay, because one, if that political marriage we found was like Costa said was selfishly maybe somehow destroyed because of their own political desire. Maybe one person couldn't go as fast, the other person couldn't go as a standard bearer, and they just did not want us to work together.
But you haven't said why he is in a squeeze position.
That's the reason, because the CPP, they destroyed the CPP. If Kumis wanted to support Joe Baka, he would have stayed with the CPP. If Joe Baka wanted Kumis support, the CPP they wouldn't have gone astray the way they went.
But you historicize it. You go into the past. The past is history. The CPP is over. It's finished. It's dead. We are talking about the present.
This,
Cummings is in the present, and
this,
the present is the run of, and Cummings is a factor.
the CPP may be a past, but remember the CPP still holds. Kumi is still representing the CPP in
S-
somehow, even though Joe Baka left. Even though he left. But a difficult decision for me, Kumis, will not be maybe considering one political party or the others. If I say I want to do this, and that person I want to support, maybe don't stand a chance, because you, like you said, when personal they have their own beef and all. Joseph Waka and Kumis. Okay, George, we have been very critical on George. Since I tried to build this political marriage before, it did not work. A marriage that failed before will never hold. It will not hold. Just remain mute. Don't support anybody. If that's the case, if you call yourself in a street position, but if you want development for this country, that
So
shouldn't be your issue.
you are suggesting that he isn't in a squeeze position,
He just
but
wanted to get
he should remain mute. He should remain neutral.
yeah. If you feel like the marriage did not work before you were in that marriage,
Okay, that's a
yeah.
from. We'll come to that neutrality. Let's see your comments.
Between the ruling coalition for democratic change and the former ruling unity party. We have therefore set up a team of 5 persons to engage in meaningful discussions with the two parties going into the runoff to inform our final decision as to who to support. The CPP team is chaired by Councillor Charlene Ambrosky, who is joined by a vice chair of the Liberty Party, two leaders of the Alternative National Congress, and the head of our campaign. These discussions are very, very important to us, and we promised the Liberian people that we would work to change the system to benefit all Liberians, to change the system to benefit less, to systemic change in how we have repeatedly governed ourselves. We would simply play musical chairs with leaders only to keep doing the same things over and over without any improvement to the lives of our people. We refuse to be a partner in keeping our people poor, our nation divided, and our governing system corrupt. We refuse to be a partner. Commitment to gender equality. Prioritize the passage of the minimum 30% law for women participation and membership in the legislature. We must also seek the appointment of women to the cabinet with a view to achieve at least 40% commitment to provide preferential loans and business development support programs to Liberian entrepreneurs, especially with focus on women and youth. Commitment to establish a war and economic crime support. We must culture of impunity in our country and seriously seek to recognize of investigatory agencies. Commitment to decentralized public administration. We will not sustainably develop Liberia, the legislature, auditing the legislature, the tax code, and rules and regulations for establishing businesses to make it business friendly. We must make Liberia business friendly.
Okay, that was the voice of Elizabeth Gomez. So, like I was saying, uh, Politicians in this country are sometimes very difficult to understand. Very, very difficult. And if you, as a layman, maybe from a simple end, where you sit and say, I understand life from a different perspective, the politicians do understand life from a different perspective. Like I was saying, like I'm saying, honestly, maybe if I was the one, I would just say, let me just keep quiet. I will not want to support anyone. But the politicians think different than you and myself. I always tell people we sit and make decisions for them. We think that what we think is the best, but you'd be surprised that most of them are friends. They wine and dine together. They have their own way to handle things. Maybe openly you will have seen comments and black guy going to court, but on the other hand, maybe they have their own relationship as well. But we can't say much for the account from
You didn't. You said he wasn't in a squeeze position. So listening to that tip, what does it tell you?
what my own perspective, what I'm trying to say is, Cummins want to put himself in that position, but if I was him, from where I analyze, I don't think that would be a difficult situation for me. It would just be very simple. If I try to build a relationship with you first, it did not work, or I see that your manifesto for the CDC, your manifesto don't align with mine, and I've been accusing you of corruption, other issues. There is no need to support all of you.
Cummings is in a squeeze position. Cummings is playing the smart game. Cummings is begging the question. Yeah. Cummings Cummings's fallacy is easy to understand. Cummings doesn't have the gust to look in President Weah's face while sitting and say, I'll support you too. Literally, you can right there tell the person after he or she has made his request, yes. So, three, you got people that you led in these elections. They have to be consulted. So, the constitution of a five-member committee is simply the idea of I can't do it unilaterally. I can't take a unilateral decision. So let me constitute this committee that will look at the manifestos of these two parties. Then they will advise expressly where to go, which is literate enough. But there and still, it is difficult because those people who are on the committee too got their preference between President Weah and Joe Buckeye. They got their preference.
In their political standpoint right now from Unity Party or the CDC determines their future as president for this country. Yeah.
So they can come back and say we assess CDC manifesto, we assess Bukai manifesto or Unity Party manifesto. Given what we have all along worked with as our leader, with you, Mr. Cummings, we can go the way of CDC or we can go the way of Unity Party. Then also it's going to be a problem. Individually, mind you now, Charlene Bromstein, Charlene Bromstein, the Charlene Bromstein factor with her father coming in, the ability, the LPP, all of those things. There are too many factors still playing here. Too many couple of things they got to trash out individually. So their individual selves will also go that vetting. If it comes out well, they finish their work fine, good. But I see hurdles. I see them experiencing some hitches along the way.
Talking about young Ethan Guy Lawrence,
All
all
of
of them.
those, because you Billity already gone. Billity made it clear that President George Weah is his man. Under no condition that he will not support President Weah. He's going for President Weah. The rest of the people in the CPP or in Liberty Party may not. So that vetting committee, they got the hectic task. They have to trash out a number of things in it. Moreover, there had to be consultations because the vetting is not only to look at the manifesto and say President Weah has the best manifesto of the two, or Joe Barker has the best manifesto of the two. You have to get the people. It's all about consensus now, so that when a decision is taken by Alexander Clement, there would be no counter that he did it on his own. We ain't know about it. In fact, we're not in support of Alexander Cummings or we're not in support of CDC. You don't want that as a leader. So the burden of keeping the atmosphere stable is in the hands of that committee that he constituted. Thank God Charlene Bromsky is a lawyer. She teaches at the Louis Arthur Grant School of Law, so she will be judicious and wisdom driven enough in how she goes about with all of these things so that they don't create any problem because that's what you need to avoid. You don't want to have a divided loyalty going to CDC or Unity Party. No, you don't want to have that. If there is a divided loyalty, it will affect the party that you're going to.
Other way,
Yes,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. If you have a divided loyalty, if the people are divided by their preference, and you're taking that to CDC, it will cost in CDC because you don't want this battle people going. You don't want people causing uneasiness, people not comfortable. You want to move into an institution comfortable, already having a preview of what that institution is, so that you will be welcome. So these are things that they're going to work on. But to rest my case, great Amitina Cummings is in a squeeze
yeah,
position, no doubt.
I respect your point of view, but I also um want us to look at the fact that other decision communities may also be criticized one way or the other. If you go to
Sure, sure, sure. Everybody.
Joe Barker, there will be question for his supporters. Lot of questions, not just few. Lot of questions. If you go to CDC, there will also be questions.
Sure, sure, sure. And
Uh, yeah, yesterday, President, were able to speak at his party headquarters there in Congo.
mhm.
And he mentioned a few things that caught my attention when it comes to the perpetual standpoint of the payment of wives and making primary education, especially from first to sixth grade, across all public schools free in Liberia. This is something that I highly welcome. And listening here and what I was able to analyze President we are speaking yesterday. I saw the anxiety in his eye because I was there after he got. I don't know what is happening with this. Each time he finished speaking to the people, he would start crying. Yeah, shed tears yesterday. He had it was even comforting him. But when he mentioned that from first to sixth grade, all public school will be of charge if he's re-elected, the anxiety people were shouting. People were shouting. Like you said in your opening statement that what Liberians want right now is what you can do. Okay? I don't think this whole politics in Liberia, people has really been understanding it. Because if we able to tell the Liberian people what you can do and stop attacking other political figures or other political parties because yesterday all what we talk, we're not talking anything about pointing fingers at other people, but we just want to Nigerians to remain united and do the right thing and keep the love and the peace. But yesterday I was able to understand that he had another plan, which is making sure that fundings that will be accumulated from or fundings that will be given to him from this coming revenue that will be collected will be allocated to the road development and healthcare, quality healthcare, and other issues, and talk about that as well. So now the issue is: are the people following what he's saying? Are they anxious? Is it that these are things they want right now? So it still falls down to the fact that this whole political marriage after the first round in Liberia, this is where political parties that want to pledge their support to either Joseph Baba or George Weah have to be very, very critical. Okay? Because if you just look at both of them from their political view and like the corporate agenda and the manifesto they're coming with, don't you want to know which one of them means well for this country? Which one of them will implement, okay? Which one of them are capacitated enough to make these things the same happens. So I think this should be the focus point of every Liberians right now. Right now, to looking at we need primary education free. Is that what like how do we place that phone is these are questions that people want to ask. How possible is it that
Did you say, President, we are crying?
yeah, he shed tears yesterday after watching starting where the eyes and starting. I don't know why. I don't know if it's tears of joy or something. But yesterday was like the momentum that you see the anxiety and what I witnessed it yesterday. Yeah, very
What's the
scary.
love that if the person
Yeah.
crying?
I'm not talking about this thing, but when they talk about the free education, how people were celebrating and something.
But free
Yeah.
education or education in its general context is nothing that is so unprecedented. No, no. It's probably in your opinion, yeah, but it is nothing. It is not unprecedented. It's not a news at all. Uh, he said a couple of things. It's one of several he talked about. But to start from where you say he cried, yeah, he needed to cry, and he needs to cry the more because it is a tough place. It is a tough place. It's not a walk in the park. They had thought that both parties or all of the parties felt that it was a walk in the park by their expression, one round victory, one round victory. Now it has reached a point where the battle it is going to be the toughest of battles. Right now, it's all about the manifesto. It's all about who actually spoke to the people, who manifesto resonated with the people in the first round of campaign. That's what it's all about now. I think that crowd, as you said, was based on his reflection. And I want to believe also some of the mistakes he made along the way and how also that he was misled along the way by some of his officials. Not necessarily the crowd or the turnout. That crowd yesterday was small. CDC, we have seen at the headquarters, mammoth crowd, multitudes. Yesterday, the crowd was not as large as in previous times. When a person is crying, it does not say because they are excited by
I
the
did not
people.
say
No,
they were
I'm just
excited by
saying,
the people. I
yeah,
must be corrected.
I'm
But
I'm running through. I'm running through an imaginative flame. That means I'm imagining him,
people
seeing
imagine
him.
differently. Imagine different. Imagine
Yes,
different.
yes, that's what I'm saying. So it doesn't say that it is purely on love. No. Sometimes you can say some things along the way and you start to reflect and you soon realize, oh yes, I'm guilty of this. But you wouldn't say you guilty. It is the way you say it, the sound of your voice, the body language will lead people to start sensing and empathizing. But there are several issues he highlighted on yesterday. Going into the battle on November 14th is going to be an interesting one, but the battle is actually going to be fought on November 14th between the two of them. So he did a couple of things there just to add to
You talk about the
just to
National Election Commission extend its term to
yeah
them for the
just
notification to conduct the election.
him yes, and he also talked about he will heal his king's men and women for the peaceful and mature manner in which they conducted themselves during the election. He went further to say that the mammoth turned out in peaceful participation, like you said, in the elections, added remarkable feathers in his words to and solidify Liberia's democracy. He acknowledged that such peaceful and orderly conduct of the elections epitomizes Liberians' dedication to democracy, while terming the exercise of the voting as a testament to the strength of Liberia. He didn't stop there. He went on to say, yes, that the National Elections Commission did well and they blew their own horn. The Etta Brown Lasana said the election was fair. They blew their own horn, but it wasn't fair. The word itself, fair, and it wasn't fair by the standard of the word fair. Though she said the election was fair. What did he say further? And then he talked about some significant issues that he will recommit himself to the responsibility of making Liberia better by tackling the huge challenges that are weighing the country down. Those issues. So there is an acknowledgement that something is happening somewhere. We've identified those things, and therefore we must address them head, head on. That he will continue to work tirelessly to do, if granted, the privilege of solving those problems in the next 6 years. He had shown Liberians that he understood, or that he understood their desire for more development, and said that his government is ready to do better and greater things with the years ahead if he's elected. And on and on. He will talk about roads infrastructure, making the resolution of every road, connecting every road, and on and on. The address was a little bit long.
President, we had said something yesterday that really happens me when it comes to our attitude as Liberians. And I was like, how is the time we sit and reflect on our relationship with people when it comes to reconciliation? So we talk about the violence in Syria and in the Somalia draft. And he said that that was not worth it at all. It was not worth it. That there, he also saw that from that incident that there is more that needed to be done when it comes to national reconciliation and healing. And that the security forces have made Sarah's arrest and their investigation is ongoing into that issue, Koya and that of the Somalia. And I just said in retrospect yesterday, I was going after that program. I said, yes, reconciliation is just important in order for us to maintain our peace. If we are to maintain our peace as Liberian, we have to forget about some of these things. And love should be the center of whatever we do. So yesterday, listening to him, being the president of this country, extending his sympathy to the Bereaved family as well, just fall back to the fact that if we don't reconcile, if we don't dialogue, if we don't discuss our issues, if we don't pay attention to what affects us as Liberians, then the question is, where are we heading to? So that was just it from President yesterday for my own reflection. I think reconciliation is very, very important after this election.
That was cosmetic by the president. It was very cosmetic. No, everybody, from the least man to the highest man of this land, from the highest man of this land to the least man, created the crisis that we need. Everybody, not a single person out.
That's what he said to all Liberians.
It's not because he's the president. So we are thrilled or be carried away by personality. No, you look at the issue. Liberia bigger than President Weah, Liberia bigger than Cummings, Liberia bigger than Sam Andrews, Liberia bigger than Grace, Liberia bigger than military, Liberia bigger than the judiciary, Liberia bigger than anybody, anything. What everybody had all along argued and been cautioning people against from the onset to keep the country peaceful by not saying things that will cause stir and confusion. Why the people everywhere, vast majority or majority of the people were afraid why they were using words like this: war, fighting, conflict, killing. Because everybody in the main culprit, the main people responsible for all of what has happened and still happening that now they're hoping for reconciliation is the media. The media is the first culprit in this whole thing. The media allowed itself to be used to plunge the country or to turn the country into another atmosphere for the few dollars. You can have, yeah, the people say it's easier to break, but it's difficult to put back together. Reconciliation is not, it's not like going to a place, it's not I want to buy a soft drink. Let me walk across the road and buy a soft drink inside the drink. That's not what reconciliation is. That's not how it works. No. You are highly educated. You know it. You have had experiences. You have seen a number of things, not only in this country, but other places. Reconciliation is not just as you say it. The most difficult thing to get off the ground in any situation, whenever there is a conflict or there was conflict, is reconciliation. Is reconciliation is sine qua non to moving any country forward. In the absence of reconciliation, there can be no peace. In the absence of peace, there can be no reconciliation. This is why we are always advised, expressly, to be mindful of what we say, mindful of what we do to the next person, mindful of how we use our radio stations, mindful of what we write in the newspaper, mindful of what we put on our social media page, mindful of the kind of words that we use holistically. Otherwise than that, at the close of everything, when you're talking about reconciliation, nobody wants to listen to you. Everybody agrees, everybody. And the main people that cause this whole thing that we see right now, the media.
Okay,
Let
Angie.
me learn. I've
Yeah,
not
Len,
learned
Len, please
the media.
go ahead.
So reconciliation, communists can call for reconciliation. President we are call for reconciliation. Joe Walker can call for reconciliation. And the rest of the other political leaders, even us sitting here as media people, can call for reconciliation. It's good to say. You can bring out the words. The words can sound good, reconciliation. But does it say reconciliation is taking place? Does it say the next person who felt hurt that he or she has forgotten? Does it say that we have gone to that person and say, sorry for what I said to you, sorry for what I wrote in the paper, sorry for what we may have done? I beg you, I hold your phone. It was because of the election. I'm sorry. It will never happen again. Have we ever attempted in our rational self to do anything like that? Or because we think the word reconciliation is just a good word, it's a fair word, so we use it. It's time for reconciliation, time for reconciliation. You don't deliberately, willfully, unregrettably hurt people.
I don't think anybody willfully hurt anyone in this
No,
election, Andrew.
no,
I don't
willful.
think that.
Yeah, it was willful. You don't do that when you finish after you have accomplished your aim. Then you say reconciliation. You know why? Great, great people, international observers, everybody, countries around the world, they were advising that look, you be careful. You don't say this other. You know why you had those international people? Some of them were on radio stations in this country talking, especially appealing to the media, not to allow the platforms to be used by politicians to bully people and to spew this and that, all the kind of thing. Because you know what? Looking at the future. That's why they will always tell you election is an event. You will go at the close of the day. Sam Andrews will meet Grace. At the close of the election, Grace will meet Sam Andrews. So it's not the issue whether President Weah is the president. So he talks about
I
reconciliation
don't see anything wrong
with
with you,
now.
President. We are calling for reconciliation, Andrews. I don't see anything wrong in that.
I'm giving my analytical view
I
over there.
respect that.
I'm not debunking what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm giving my analytical view. That's why I brought everybody. I said from the highest to the least, from the least to the highest, everybody. And I included ourselves, and I said, we are the culprit. That means we are the ones who are guilty the most for what is happening. So if the leader comes, the other people come and say, yeah, reconciliation. Reconciliation is not cosmetic. People were writing, yeah. People were writing, People sat down on radio stations owned by people who felt that, oh yes, they should say what they want to say, whichever way. People wrote in newspapers. People took to Facebook page and said, "War coming. Your bad fool. It's going to be bloodbath." People ran out of this country. You know how many people ran out of this country even before the voting started? They did not even vote. So you come back now. Those people were disenfranchised. Do you think that you're talking reconciliation will make sense and then say, yeah, we're going to reconcile? No. So what I think needs to be done is to develop a very good practical mechanism to examine ourselves, look where we made mistakes, what we did personally and indirectly, and how we ought not to do it moving forward because there are future events
Okay,
ahead of
okay.
us.
I understand you, but
So you can't say that reconciliation. Who you going to reconcile if you look at a person and the person say, "Move from me, man." You stood in the election. You said this to me. You said that you wrote this. Then I mean, I can reconcile with you. You think when you just talk about it, then it happens that way? No.
okay. But my standpoint remain the same. If Liberia will reconcile, we have to start from the root cause of the
But
problem, which
reconciliation
is
has
not
never worked
today.
in this country.
It will work. It will work. It's the fact that we have to believe in something. Liberia is coming from a very, very difficult crossroad. I'm
Reconciliation,
coming. I'm
reconciliation
coming.
has never worked in this country. I want you to know it
Can I,
first.
can I, can I just make my point? The fact that Liberia have a very, very wide open mindset when it comes to the war we have for 40 years, bringing us down to where we are today. What we need, what we need is inner healing. I will keep saying it. If the president will come out this time and said, Liberians need to reconcile. We need to see our mistakes. We need to focus on the wrong we have done. We have to see that we have hurt our brothers. We have to sit in dialogue and find a solution to this. I think this is the right path. Him being a standard bearer for the CDC is different from him being the president of Liberia. You being a standard bearer for CDC is a different thing. Running for this election is a different thing. But Liberians overwhelmingly voted for him as the president. So if these things are happening, people losing their lives, people feeling disenchanted, like you said, the media causing chaos, I think he, as a president, the best thing he can do is to call for reconciliation. The question should be now is how are they going to carry on this whole reconciliation process? This should be the main question. How are they going to implement what you're saying? How do we reconcile? Where do we start from? But calling for reconciliation remains very, very important for me, for this country we are in. Because if we go to this election without reconciling and just leave things as it is, leave the wounds open, don't come together, don't amend and come to find out where we want each other, then we stay on the same crossroad. We stay on the same crossroad. So we shortly open the line and see.
You
Yes,
true.
go ahead.
I'm
Go
listening to
ahead.
it. I
Go ahead.
want you to exhaust your point.
No, I exhausted my point. I think the president, as capacitated as he is right now, the position is staying in as the president of Liberia. And from what happened from Foya to that of the Japan Freeway, the whole electoral violence thing and everything that has been happening, the east from everywhere, the fear, everything. What we can do as Nigerians is to come together and find a common ground we have to find and solve our problems. Violence is just not the way.
So here is it. Do you know that President George Weah, Joseph Yamabwak, Alexander Cummings, Charlene Bromsky, Tiawan Gonglo, and the rest of the people, the list goes on. They didn't show leadership. They didn't. When a situation is evolving, you know who pacifies the situation? The leader is foresighted. The leader is futuristic. The leader sees ahead of time. And the leader have that wisdom that if this is not brought under control, if we can stop it now, it will get worse. Instead, what did we see? The leaders themselves were not concerned about the future. They were concerned about individual preferences politically. So they too join the bandwagon of insults, of jabs, and on and on. People not the same. You different. I am different. Whether it's a political stuff, whether it's just a mere joke. Have you not seen you in the yard and you people are talking and you're saying something jokingly and somebody feels hurt and the person takes it personal with you and you wouldn't know until another event happened, then the person said, you did this to me, you said that to me. So people are different. These elections, the campaign are passed. Some people hold certain people very personal. They held certain things very personal. They felt that no, the person here is big enough. The person above 18. The person knows exactly he or she was waiting for the time to say it or to do it. In such the time, that's why we were advised. I go back to that whole stuff, Grace, that when you're going into a context, the third law of intellectualism called ad hominem. It said focus only on the issues, leave people personality. Whether Grace is this person, she not the person, not the issue. React to what Grace said or say what you said that you can do to counter or to win Grace. But if you leave the issue and then you go start saying things about Grace's personal life, it's very then a different thing you honor. It means that you have something in mind, you're waiting for that opportunity to use it. So when everything finished and they say, oh, that election, that campaign, let's reconcile. So people they can. So the leaders themselves encourage it. So if the calling, if Wagaka call for reconciliation will be cosmetic, the communist calls for reconciliation will be cosmetic. Any one of those people, because they've done the bare wagon of the people they call ordinary people to cause, to say all kinds of things about each other. Then you say reconciliation. Secondly, before we go, reconciliation has never taken precedence in this country. It has never, and it will never. This is Sam Andrews's position because we've seen it in this country. Let me take you back to another historical electoral event. 2020, the 2020 special senatorial election. There were too many things that were happening prior to that elections. People went gutter with people. All kinds of things were happening. At the close of the day, but before then, there was this talk of reconciliation for everything then going into the election. After the election, we start hearing talk of reconciliation, loving each other, love your brother, be your brother keeper. The following day, the people who were talking about being a brother keeper, reconciliation, were on other people's back. They were saying all kinds of things. Clashes were all over the place. So then why did you talk about reconciliation? Why did you talk about being a brother's keeper? So in that situation, reconciliation is only with the person who feels hurt. That person can look and say, Grace can say, Sam Andrews hurt me. I look at it, at least Sam Andrews will go. Never will I hold it in my heart. I erase it from my heart. As long as I live, I will never ever think about it. Even if I see Sam Andrews, I will never. You have rated yourself of it. You have reconciled with yourself. It's level of Sam Andrews to rate it or to keep it. But for you, you finish with it. We've had too many investigations. You know how many investigations, how many things happening? It went into investigations, and most of those investigations went under the carpet. You know that we would have gotten that Lo-Fi incident report before even NEC announced the final results and run off. Till now, it's not out. Why we can know? Too many things. Why we can know? We ought to know. So investigations have never ever, because these are factors for reconciliation. When you constitute a committee or an investigative panel is on, let that investigation be finished and let the panel make its report. Who is found guilty, the law takes precedence. If the investigation said this person should make amend and the two people, that person make amend and they reconcile, is over. Fine. But it can just be where reconciliation, then you see different things happening. Nobody get time. Investigation can come up. Nobody knows the outcome. Too many investigations have just it's just sleeping. They're sleeping. The point you know the outcome. So how reconciliation will be? People hurt. You're investigating. They can't come up. They're still living with the hurt, the pains. Then you expect when you talk about reconciliation, who want to listen to you?
I think what we should be paying attention to right now is the Ministry of Justice. As the president calling for reconciliation, like I said, is something that I highly welcome. Same with that. But what you say is the fact that these investigations he is talking about should be brought out earlier. Because if you keep committing or making the same mistake over and over again without finding solutions,
What he
there
said.
uh, there is no need, there is no need to come up and talk peace. Because if the justice ministry cannot come up to, if whoever wrong in that situation, even if that is like national police, make it new, make the public know what is happening. But as it stands, we need to reconcile in these investigations. People that go ahead should be having access to justice. We shouldn't be on the fence and justice. You don't have anywhere where chaos happens or people lost their life in this election that you're not talking about it. So I think the president should pay attention to the Ministry of Justice and the Liberia National Police to speed up their investigation from the Chala Mushi case up to now, all the other cases that people got in the street to protest and call for justice for, they should be able to do it. So shortly, I think we will go to the phone line and open the line. Call us on 0770907907. 0880 907 907. Call us and make your contribution to what we discussed this morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Even where you phoning from?
This is one of my district.
Go ahead.
And I got the topic on the discussion this morning about in all of the talks. I mean, a certain area I look at. I want to express my view there,
Go ahead.
and that is with Mr. Cumming and Mr. Ford coming back together. My sister until
Oh, we lost her. Hello? Good morning.
I call for the issue.
Go ahead.
If you want to see the issue, you have to see our life. It's not a good of our colleagues to be able to do that. And I want to want to say the real thing. The question is, and if
We lost our person. Let's speak this now. Good morning.
good morning, how are you?
Fine, your name and where you come from.
Okay, this is Emma. Today calling from Panama.
Go ahead, Amos.
Um, let me start with comment. Now, the comment, if you can recall when you were there on his campaign, he made a statement in Yukuta, and he said that he will not go away from the opposition, even down to the wrong end. Take it out, his record. Play a recording. He said he won't go away from the opposition, even to the wrong end. Get that clear. Now, I also agree with you guys in the studio. You see, let me tell you, when certificate of justice is corrupt, the body policy will obviously collapse. Now, the people that was put, a lot of things that went up, you cannot bring out the justice to show how that XYZ is wrong. It was unity party say who did this killing, or it was Tunisia who did this killing, and you put it under the carpet. No matter how it would take, yeah, if they have records like that, it will be in a heart. And people will not do away with it. I'm one of those, for example. I have it in heart. This is why I went against any Jerusalem because of the war she brought in this country. I supported CDC from 2005 2011. I got to realize that Eddie has crossed carpet. And let the CDC and up to now, I want her to face injustice. Eddie have to face injustice. You cannot hold the whole thing and just put it on the carpet. It is wrong. You are doing wrong to the Nigerian people. You are doing wrong to the Nigerian people. No matter how long it will take, it will not bring it to light. You say peace, peace, peace. The peace will never hold in this country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
In the road line, okay. As I say, I'm in District 2.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, well, you just saying concerning Mr. Parker and Mr. and come back here. that can never ever happen. I said never. Mr. Kumi, Mr. Boga, it's just simple. And one thing Mr. Kumi is supposed to do, Mr. Kumi just leave it to the court as we did the first time when we also the control the election, the personal election, and the who is their own way. Then tomorrow, if Mr. Kumi just remember that tomorrow, if you want to come to power, this thing will also mean that if you're not realistic, you're not very careful for the Liberian people. You understand? So what are the party have been to challenge the incumbent? If I say that you dragging this, in the coming, they did going to court, do all kinds of even with the one who testify, it was not easy. That's why dragging, and now you have to do that because he's not above the law. So you can't say there's everything about God, then you the president of point that against something. I'm understanding. You understand? This guy, I just can't listen it. You don't live up to what you did. Meaning that you want from Mr. Paul, you want from Mr. Coleman to take that with CCC.
I don't think that's what you're doing. You don't say that. Good morning.
Well, good morning, my dear sister. Mr. Andrew, how you guys doing this morning?
Fine.
Yeah, thank you. This is the people's governor. The most talk about this people team governor. I'm so easy and I join from my comfort district from the whole members of the Response Defense Team, Group Defender. You know, our men from Leslie Chapel and then start crying wolf cry. Now today, you know the men, they say, look, our people there used to give their parable. They say you never know the importance of the tree. The shape the tree can give you, and you enjoy your cool air until that tree is then cut down. That's what happened to Honorable Kumi and the Unity Party. You put that man up. You drag that man repetition all year and there, today. But the only way, honorable men, as for all respect, the only opportunity is to come to all the CDC. Our arms are open. We honor the Sacrament tree. We're waiting for you. Okay? Come, we'll welcome you, Jerry. And go when you enter in America, we're waiting for you at the airport. So we are waiting for you. Okay? Come, because the people there get no problem for you. They interview your people when you're going to go. What are you know you the best? You know you from nowhere. So it's this small thing that today I want to get the best yellow woman in town. That's one thing we have president. We are is the only authority that continue the development president. We have 12 years for sure. Yes, I go to the school. The women added new flavor to the whole thing yesterday. The whole crowd, our people on fire after speaking. Our children there was the continually something that can be passed into law and out of the health sector. So we are resolved, President. We are 12 years for sure. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Okay. Call us on 077 907 0880 907.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, good morning.
Anime, where you calling from?
I'm Alex M. Boga, calling from. Thank you very much. I want to go back to your studio. You sister in the bureau. I 17, I listen to your the brother. I listen to his too good. And you speaking, I really get that because we balance so you, the way you tell me that you need to see this with. Okay, and I go to the issue. Joshua, and you tell like you can't put it in the zero, you can't put it in the lean. So, I thought you wanted president. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Let me add my question. Very first is in calling our citizen to have president. We have the recent people, some of your comments they always care about us. I think you can better witness it. Like I told somebody, they care about why somebody send their child to school from ABC to 12th grade. It's not why she is a job. They have to pay. One of the people telling me, they always are speaking. When I hear person, we are saying why that which I agree. My child was among those people. I'm a professional plumber. I graduated from BWI University. To see if job was available, myself, I couldn't pay my child. But when the government was given the opportunity to say, create other environment for people to work to the national state. Then we distribute everything among people. Few people that's why the end of the day still feel washy. You are even telling me that one of my children rather we every I don't get money now to take to school. So they have we are going to pay a washy 2 years from now. So these are things which these are serious issues. We can't look at it. Nobody will send a child to school for ABC to 12th grade and get money to get people was fee. In fact, that no government should pay somebody was fee. The government should create a environment. It's really out of shame this way because
Morning.
morning.
Anime, where you come from?
My name is Clinton Ibrahim Sile and I'm calling from up Beverly Hills, Pakistan City, Basel Community. Let me say thank you so very much for your discussion this morning. You know, I listened to the both of you when the analysis comes like this. There are things that the media is becoming, independent or the media is not taking side. Those of who are kind of alleging people taking side. What I want to put to this discussion or say here is this. I came out of the University of Labrador. I graduated 2021. And at the time, I used to be paying school fee, but we are said the university should be free. Subsequently, and he did that. And it is all going right now. He's coming back, being very practical to say that when he's re-elected, primary school is going to be free. I think that by the grace of God, that will work. But this is the problem. This is where I want to come from when it comes to the Kumis and the Joe Barker and the president we have. Like you said, I don't think that Kumis should be in a squeeze position. Like one of the callers said, um, he said when he was on a campaign that he's going to remain with the opposition. So you know that Kumis did not really, sit down to think that or to analyze does the opposition, manifesto, really capture what I want to bring for the Liberian people. What he's doing is the president is doing all this government is doing well, he's going to remain with the opposition. So by that, I think he doesn't need to be squeezed to decide which side to go. So we just got to be, let me quickly conclude when it comes to this reconciliation issue. I want to support my brother. The issue of reconciliation in Liberia, it has not worked. I don't know if it will work today, neither will it work tomorrow. The 40 years what took place there was not much done on reconciliation. If Liberty and Johnson, people rejected their law once people said there was nothing done on reconciliation. And then this election, imagine that he said the journalists, and I saw support that. The journalists and the reason why the journalists in this
Morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Where you coming from?
Thank you. I'm listening to morning to Ken Andrews. I'm the only friend of you know, the people say, it's the reason why shooting, and we cannot see anything with actually.
Please be Oliver Lopez.
Yeah, so I'm saying the level of hypocrisy in this country is just not public. And
Wow.
today I see the both side trying to pull a whole war. We start the support because of SYC reason. Fairly the both sides defeated Mr. Cooley. Okay, that's just the accident. I will say I defeated Mr. Cooley a lot. We are very few people said Mr. Cooley is a good many party friends and then doing everything the only man Mr. Cooley is the same. So I think that the issue is Mr. Cooley do what is right in the interest of the ordinary people. But somebody should come here and pretend to people say attacking people, right? So I mean, no side is free of this allegation. And we are going to the other part of the side, we had our son again, oh, we're taking the amendment to Sunday. Because you want to say our CDC friends, you have to tell him, or one strong citizen left the fact of this thing, he started with a communal repetition and he's a great But once application was sent, he said, "I'm taking the election." So far, I said, he was not going to stand. I was taking the circulated election. And nobody should come and say the innocent class everybody wants to circulate today. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, let's pick this one. Keep you on the line. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How you doing?
Hi, your name and where you call from?
I'm just here and I'll call you from this one network.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. First, let me start by saying thank you to you guys for the discussion. And I just want to say this to Nigerian people. My late grandfather told me something, and I took it to the consideration. I hear some of the fathers saying how if I can pay my child school fees from ABC, and I can pay, I'm capable of paying what fee. If someone does something for you, we should be grateful for what it is. And the next one I have to do is the violence that occur at the Somalia drive here. To the extent that I went to barb my hair, I went barber shop around the Boundary Junction, and I met one of these guys that was involved into the particular act. He was taking away someone's child life just because of someone who don't even know you, and he was boasting about it. So I think the government need to come down high on these people with such issues because taking away someone's life, no, it's too much. So thank you.
Thank, thank you. Okay, let's pick this one. Good morning.
Good morning. Good
Yeah,
morning, my sister.
yeah, you have to go ahead.
Yes, you. I like the way you analyze the issue this morning. But for me, I don't know the difference between Sis Amira and Sis
Grace.
Amira or Sis Grace. Good morning. And I've got the issue this morning. There is nothing to call grateful when it comes to calling themselves because the citizens are gave their sovereignty, use their vote to vote for a person, making a president to create an independent environment for us. And people discuss the issue of kings. I think with the kind of presentation we acquire, I think for me, uh, we should be paying attention to the level of Apple and Edward Appleton. But on the issue of Kunis, I think Kunis will not go in the side of the CDC. For me, that's my point. Because the reason is very well, listen to Kunis even before the election. You see, I don't care if the election go to a run of you profess supporting your position on blood. But we got someone with who is a personal friend of God Manuel, which is Mr. Accountability. And I think maybe he will influence the community to either go on the staff CDC. Because Mr. Andrew says anything, I just want to end with it. You say it's very hard to turn down a president offer. President can be turned down based on the kind of proposal you want to be met. Thank you this morning, my sister.
Thank you. Okay. Call us on 0770907 0880 Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you come from?
Good morning.
Yeah, your name and where you come from? Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, your name and where you come from?
Okay, this is Moses calling.
Go ahead, Moses.
I Before I continue, I want to let the brother know that politics is not gospel. Politics is not religion.
Okay.
Now, it's not a pastor you will look at in terms of pastor you told me XYZ. Why are you coming back to tell me this? But if you use the word never, that means a politician. My uncle in law went back to you all know photo you need to say that wherever the sun shine there I in my clothes. Now, there is a question have been posed to all the opposition. All the opposition have to go to one council or to CDC. The question here is if you take CDC, all the wrong years that CDC has been doing, you are in line with CDC. You have concurred with CDC, meaning that you are telling CDC to do the same old thing. You getting me? Now, if you leave the CDC again and you take United Party, that of course United Party has not become a president for us to know his way, but it is from where we are going to know his good way. If you choose the United Party, now the question here is that any wrongs that he carry on, you are part and parcel of that particular wrong that Walker will carry on during the 6 years. If you leave Walker, you come to the city say all the wrong you are part and parcel. So I just want them to know that it should be clear. It should be clear today. Even we, the ordinary people that voting today, we will vote for Buckeye. All the roads that Buckeye will tell us in this country, we shouldn't sit back to say that it is Buckeye that tell us. You and I, we are part of it. So people CDC, all the wrong judgment will carry on. You and I, we are part of it. Thank you.
They couldn't have put it. People couldn't have put it and embedded. But yeah, what many people, Grace, have not understood. There isn't one person who can change, will not change, hasn't God. But his methodology or his dealing with the inhabitants of the earth and its geography change. Beyond God, the Spirit, Jesus Christ, any other person can change. People have said, I would never. Those same people came out to say, I'm not God. Two, people have made strong resolutions in this country and they somersaulted on those resolutions. You know where this expression comes from? Don't trust politicians because they have always somersaulted on what they say. Those who are saying by their position that Cummings have always said, Cummings have always said you stay in the opposition. This whole thing is not who said what in the past. I want you people to look at it from a situational standpoint. What is before us now is all about persuasion. That is why I said Cummings is in a squeeze position. And I explained what I meant by that squeeze position. That one Cummings doesn't want to take a unilateral decision. Not that it is not within his power to do. Literally, you want to respect all of the people that are around you. You want to give them every ounce of respect and have a consensus. Two, you want to make sure that those two people who are selling their manifestos to you, that you have time to properly assess it using your own manifesto as the measuring rod to make a determination as to where you go by assessing their two platforms. So, couple with other things, that's his position. Now, you part of the discussion, you interestingly say that if no way, they should remain neutral. Coming should remain neutral. In such a situation, Grace, not only will the person not be showing good leadership, yeah, but it's not good, Grace. It's not good at all. And I think you should tell the people to stop it. It's not good. There are certain things people do, and they will think that is right. But when you get to another level in life, you see that working against you and you wouldn't know. It is a bad leadership. It is politically weakling. You don't see anybody trusting you any longer. You know, one of the things that killed Brumskin's legacy, yeah, that when it came a time, when the time came for Brumskin to make a position, Brumskin said the people should decide for themselves. The people put their trust in you. They depend on you for guidance, for instruction. You are the leader. The leader sees ahead. The leader understands the signs of the time. Just as Please allow me to use this biblical line. I'm a Christian. Everything I do it from the Bible. In First Chronicle 12:32, what it said the sons of Issachar who had understanding of the time, so that Israel would know what to do. What was their responsibility? To advise Israel expressly. When they say pastor, you know what I mean? You're saying seer, a person who sees beyond the present. So the political seer is the leader. The people look up to the leader. If the leader reaches a point in such a situation like ours now and say your desire for yourself, the leader is not only stabbing the people in the back, but the leader is telling them, look, you people are only behind me. But in terms of leadership, no, because right there is exposure. Direct the people, be a part, take a side. You want to straighten up the situation for the better, or you want the status quo to remain. Abstaining or being neutral, how does it change anything? It doesn't change anything. What if the rest of the people say the leader abstaining? So we are abstaining too. You know what you have done to the country? It is not nationalism. It is not patriotism. It is hypocrisy and sycophancy. You take a side. I can never ever, in such a situation, as the leader not take his side. I will take his side.
Okay, yeah. I want to say this. Sometimes agreeing with you on this is okay, but sometimes the leader's position and the side they take are usually not in their own interest. Politics is about interest. You know, if you
No,
look at
Grace, here is
yeah,
it. We've got two persons. We've got
yeah,
two political parties, Unity Party and CDC.
yes,
So
yeah.
in that situation, you got the two ideas that were competing for 20 persons. You got those two ideas in
What I
CDC and Unity Party. So Joe Barker, the opposition, the other people, all of them in Unity Party and CDC. So for a leader, for you to say that this person idea it will not be or doesn't exist because they're not in a pool, no.
I'm trying to say is maybe my leader would say, okay, for example, I'm the leader of a political party, and CDC and the Unity Party that's within the runoff. I need to take a side. If I take Party A, I would think Party A will be right for this country. But Party A may not be right for us. I'm only taking answer at that time because of the interest. Politics is about interest and what will make you know around you. What you stand to benefit or what the point of benefit. So what I'm trying to say is if you take a side right now, which way you will do, doesn't
No,
hundred
it's
percent
not compulsory, it's
yeah,
optional,
it's optional
but we put in the sense to the table.
nothing guarantee that that side you take it at that time is 100% okay for the country. You just take one side. But what I want us to understand also is that these people are placed in a difficult position sometimes to make this decision. And if that decision don't go they want in the future, the same people they're trying to direct come back to blame them for the decision. Yeah.
Life is not as you want. We can plan, but we do not know the ultimate end. We plan, we make plans, we can decide, but we do not know the ultimate end. But it is unto us to make a decision.
Yeah.
Life is all about making decision. In this situation, if Cummings goes neutral, it will be the most, how do I term it? Um, Everything about his political life will end, just as it ended with the late Rumsky. If Tier 1 Gonglo, he has taken side already, so his political life lives on, his respect lives on, he's going to be that way. And if the runoff election is off and the winner is announced, and another election comes on that will get these people involved, it may not be national, and Tier 1 Gonglo announces his desire to contest, everybody will support Tier 1 Gonglo. And they will be supporting Tiawan Gonglo because he did not abandon. He took a side. He did not say. It's just like going. You're leading people. Then you say, "Okay, I said where we reach now. You carry yourself. You can decide. Anything happen to you, that your business. I ain't get time again. My guardian's over. I go back. What kind of leader are you? In a difficult situation, you show leadership. On a silver platter in good times, you show leadership. You never ever leave your people to decide. You are the one. What I'm saying simply, Grace, none of these people, I would not say why it is true that it is their right, but I'm saying the factors that are associated with it. It killed Bronstein political morale in this time. And if Cummings tries it, not to take a side and leave it with the people, it will kill his morale. Whoever attempts to do that, it will kill the morale. You either take side. It's either CDC or Unity Party. Why it is true that constitutionally and democratically it's a right, but the factors are what we're looking at. Those factors are as essential in life and in politics. If you abstain and say, Grace, you go ahead, you can decide whoever you want to support. I mean, you can take side, you want to go CDC, fine, you want to go Unity Party. But for me, I'm not there again. My guidance and rare, my leadership and rare. You think the next time you in any contest, those people will come to be honor you as their leader, they will never they'll say that making abandon people.
Okay, so we are still taking call. We just wanted to squeeze in a few points. They call us on 0770-907-880-907. Put us in a few of the program this morning.
Good morning, good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, sister. How are you doing? How do you do?
I'm doing fine, sir. Thank you. And you?
It is nice to actually get my attention is being drawn. My name is Davalo to first detail.
Go ahead.
My attention is being drawn to two things. The what the answer is saying, right? That his Anna Cummings I kind of was saying which I want to agree with him. You remember that on the side of the Unity Party, the threatening guy report, they call him a common criminal, and then coming back to Georgia, he has all to say about this government. And so for this reason, my dear brother, I think if he better just give you opening wherever he ought to want to pull it in. Secondly, I want to believe that the chair yesterday, where the president had to cry. I have the other side of the story. I believe it was not a cry of joy. Maybe he calculated and he knew that it was a time for defeat. Because of what maybe he said of the years for the Liberian of his people. And the people opposition is begging him today. It's an indication that this brother is saying why the people have defeated me. That how I look at that cry is not a cry of joy. To allow your opposition to drag you like this, it surprises anybody. That's just my point, brother. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's take two more questions. Go to our next topic. Good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Go ahead. Your name is-
I'm the moving and I call for position as for me county. Yeah, my education I'm going to happy to the man who came to the election. I mean, I don't know why other parties, the two parties that are winning, will always be running their attitude that way for second round. Because attitude really, since the election campaign started, one day in Jamaica, we have not even seen his flyer. People wouldn't vote because all attitude because he appears one on the ballot people. This is what most of our old people voted attitude. So I mean, the people I prefer them only they are coming to vote they are coming because coming is we're capable. But for one day we are not seeing here on the side. The way we voted him because he appeared first. Thank you all so much.
And the discussion is not only with Alexander Cummings, Cummings and former finance minister, political leader of the
Good morning.
All Liberian, no, ARCOP, Lieutenant Camara. Yeah, they had a meeting too. They discussed on moving forward.
Okay, so let's pick here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mama Williams, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How you doing?
Fine, go ahead.
For the public, my name is Baba William, and I joined us to be having this morning.
Wow, go
Let
ahead.
me say thanks to you for the topic of discussion. Just as my brother said this morning, I can be hearing a group of people, and then they all seek direction from me. They all seek arrival for me, message for me. And then we reach at the middle of the road that is yo, they wanna help you for your own way. Where they think that they know they are going. And I the one that heading them, and I know where to take them. That will be best for them. So I think Mr. Kumes has to see this time around. He shouldn't do like 2017 where he just let people be Jeremiah Yago support anybody else to support. No. Then he take Osa today that tomorrow people will say, oh, Mr. Kumes took Osa, and then history can judge him tomorrow. But tomorrow, if it happens, you go into an election, maybe you will kind of second place or first place, and then you go for a runoff. So other people should say, oh my, let me see. You are supporting by you want to support. You will not sacrifice himself. If it happens in a case, so Mr. Kume, I think you can try to make a decision by supporting CDC, which is President George, because we have to allow for this country, and we all we can see. So I thank you for your time this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Calling from
All right. Peter, continue.
your point.
All right. You mentioned few things concerning these guys and their leadership ability. So I would just like to the reference to key 21 indefeasible laws of the master leadership teaching. One of the laws talks about the law of intuition, and that states intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need of conscious reasoning. And the other law says the law of influence. If you do not have influence as a leader, you won't be able to lead the people you are leading. And the last one states the law of picture. People follow and do what they see that leader doing. So as a leader, you should always learn to serve as an example to the people that you are leading. Thank you.
Thank you. So, that's all the time we have for call for this segment. For our second segment, Besonga Fine, Besonga Fine, openly endorsed President Weah and our pledge support to President Weah in this runoff election. Uh, so the question here is from Grandpa's County, you win as an independent candidate. If you, and for me, I'll put it this way. You knew you wanted to support President Weah. Why you didn't run on the CDC ticket? So I noticed that this is something most politicians are using this. They use the independent mindset to get to where they want to get. And after that, they come up to tell us who is supporting. So we saw for the senatorial seats, almost 15 were won by the independent candidates, like those that went as independent without any political parties.
18,
The 18, because I don't
18, 25 for CDC.
you see the ratio. So if you, I don't know if people are rejecting party line when it comes to representative centers. I don't know how to put it.
No, they it is internal. It is purely internal and individual. A person can be in a party based on what is happening. The party can either appeal to the person, allow the person to see a reason to allow this person to go. The party can have its preference, and they can go for that person and allow the person whom they do not want to run on the ticket. No, and that we have seen over the time led to people going independent. On the other side of it, the person can just choose because, from a party standpoint, it's primary. So some people may not want to go through the primary. Probably they have already an understanding that it's going to be this, there's this preference they're going to give to this person. Even if I contest, it will just be for nothing. I wouldn't win. So let me just tell the party most respectfully, I want to go independent. Some people, they just decide, I'm not going on any party line, given what the party has done in that area. It's possible. Like I was told yesterday, one of the candidates who participated in the elections was advised appropriately not to use her husband's name. That if she used the husband name, she was not going to win. And she did listen and didn't use the husband name and went there, she won.
Wow.
That's what I was told yesterday. Probably because of the husband's name, probably is associated with something or so. So she used the family name and she won. So there are different factors why people can opt. In the case of Bezonga File, it's not a news. It's nothing new yet. Bezonga had always been President Weah's man. Bezonga was in the Senate. He was in the legislature. Bezonga got defeated. President Weah brought him on board. He served at the echelon of President Weah's cabinet, foreign affairs minister. Bezonga came up and said, Chief, I want to go by in the legislature. So I'm tendering my resignation. I want to go. And the president said, no problem. It is your right constitutionally. I can't hold you down. Bezonga went and contested. Bezonga won. So you expect that Bezonga will go on the other side. Bezonga goes to President George Weah. President Weah had been his man all along. But here is it. Whether Bezonga, the votes that he got, the impact he made in Grand Bassa, whether he can have or he still has that influence. Because sometimes if you change, it changes your entire situation. The people will say, okay, we voted this man to go there. So coming here with another name, 1 year for it. In fact, we are abstaining. You'll see that in the second round. Already there's voter apathy in the second round. The atmosphere itself is quiet. You don't see that enthusiasm like you
You
saw
saw
it
in
the
the first
first round. So all of these things will play. You'll find people turning out, but it will not be in large numbers. The people could say that we only voted for this man. Just how some people say we're only voting for president. We ain't voting for no representative. I want to believe that is part of the invalid votes. Some people say, okay, I'm voting for the man. Sometimes the way they will vote for the president, they destroy it because some people are overly excited and mad until they bust the person eyeball. So based on that, whether he will be able to have that influence or maintain the same impact in Bassa to give President Weah that vote. So he's going to work overtime, but he's moving to President George Weah or getting on President Weah's side is not a surprise.
So,
We saw that coming. We're talking about it. It's not a news.
yeah, I know it's not something that we should talk about, but the fact that most of the politicians now in the House of Rep and Senate will try to go independent, like you say, it's internal. Maybe sometime if they go for primary, they still want to go out there and be able to sell their kids. It's also welcoming. But looking at
But you know that many of those people won, many of those independent that won because they were independent. Had they gone on party ticket, they wouldn't have won.
it's like people don't want to vote based on your party you represent anymore. Because look at Maserati County, the light of Sir Joseph, even though he was on the CDC ballot for president and senator, but the presidential tally showed that President Weah was defeated in Maserati County. So all of these things play along the way. So that's my opinion for now. And now coming back to support President Weah, the CDC already have the Grand Bassa County from the recent election. So I think by him going to tell the people that you that supported me now, you just send your egg to this other basket. Like you said, it will also play with him because if you wanted him at that time to support President Weah, why you did not say it? You're not independent.
But you didn't follow him all along.
So
It's very likely that he said it, he may have said it, and I don't want to believe that. And on the other hand, you're right, because if you aren't running on a ticket, then you are telling the people I want man.
you know.
If you are running on a ticket, you're telling the people we are two or three. So when you go back, the people will understand it to mean they completed the first mission by electing you.
Yeah.
There's the second mission to elect the second person who is the your
President.
booty that's seeking re-election. Independent means I alone.
I ain't got no
I'm supporting anybody. I all by myself. So if the people resolve to support you as an independent person, and after that you go back,
okay,
they,
I don't
they
sometimes we
might
feel bad.
they might say we finish, mission accomplished.
We
So
already
no
gave
need.
you what you wanted. Why you coming back to us? Why you did not tell us first before? You know, you went alone, you presented your case alone, like
But
a man wanting to come and marry you, okay? Come alone, and my parents are both dead. Then after that, they just come and say, my parents are alive. It's like a shock to you.
so, but some of the independent also campaign for the presidential candidate. Some campaign for Joe Walker, some campaign for President William. An independent candidate. They told the people are running as independent, but I support President William. I'm running as independent, but I support opposition leader Joseph Yuma Boakai. Some of them said it. Yeah. And given their attachment to these people, though they went independent, the people opted to vote them. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
But that whole independent thing is a risk, as well as the party ticket.
very big
Mhm.
risk.
Because some people went on Unity Party ticket, they did not win, they were sure of winning. Some people
Very
went
sure.
very,
Especially the city girl, they were sure I
yeah.
will win the primary, so I will win.
Some people went on Unity Party ticket, they were very sure of winning, they became very dismal.
Yeah.
Very, very.
So it's just on both sides. So let's bring you based on that person.
Some consultation in Assad between the eminent and prominent citizens of Ambassador County. We have a runoff presidential elections that will take place on November 14. I have had consultations with both the Unity Party and the CDC Party. I have come to appeal to all of the citizens of Assad to be understanding that this process of choosing to lead Liberia must be a process through which the citizens of Assad must benefit. In so doing, consultation that I have completed in Grand Bassa County, majority of the citizens have asked me to support the CDC-led government by His Excellency President George Manawia. I believe that my support for President Weah will be in the right direction of my platform, the commitment I've made to Bassa to bring electricity to Buchanan City, to build the commitment we have made people of Bassa to build and establish educational training institute for all of our young people in the district. It will be manifested if we elect President Weah for his second term. I believe that Bassa will achieve its goal, that we, as the lawmakers, will come together after the second round and present our legislative agenda to President Weah. In concluding, I once again appeal to all of the good citizens, the wonderful citizens, the beautiful people of Bassa to follow me in supporting the re-election of President Weah. I know and I have the conviction that he will work along with the people of Bassa to bring development, bring growth, to address jobs and employment for the people of Grand Bassa County. I ask God's blessing upon all of you as you prepare for the runoff elections, that we continue to be peaceful in this process. May God bless Bassa and bless the nation. Thank you.
Okay. Wasn't got feeling. This position is clear, it's known, it's factual, it's irreversible. And then, so let's close with the atmosphere with the second round on the atmosphere generally, we got limited time to close everything. The two political parties, CDC and Unity Party. Now, Grace, let's try to put this in context as quickly as we can. Here's the first one. Usually, in a second round or a runoff, the atmosphere isn't as enthusiastic, as motivating as the first round. What that means is you have voter apathy setting in. Some, if not many, have already decided not to vote, that they have voted and no need to vote in a second round. In addition to that, also, some of the people went for representative and senatorial candidates. They could say that the mission is accomplished and they did not go for president. They have no interest in any one of the two. That is voter apathy right there. Moreover, you got only two persons on the ballot box or on the ballot paper. You got only two persons. So it's not going to be difficult like the first to identify. You got President George Weah and Joseph Yama Boakai. So it's going to be as easy as anything to identify those two people. But here is the cross of it all. In 2 weeks, few days, can these two political parties crisscross the entire country as they did the first round? The first thing that set in this situation is exhaustion. Exhaustion by natural energy, exhaustion with cash, exhaustion with logistics. But with this, amongst Unity Party and CDC, CDC does have the edge still. Two, within the same area, you can have CDC crisscrossing the entire country. You can have Unity Party crisscrossing the entire country. The situation still remains the same. We are in the rain season. The roads, some of the roads are bad. Shortcut will have to be taken. You can get people reaching to those remote areas. So here is it. Starting with Unity Party first in such a time. Unity Party, people are resolved, but that resolution will only be a convincing resolution by the count. The resolution is President Weah has mismanaged the country, and there is a need for change, and that change is compelling. Therefore, the people have resolved, and they who are the front runners, the leaders, the mistakes that they made in the first round, that those counties they did not get votes from, or they were dismal, they're going into those counties. Will they be in the position? Will they reach all of those counties before the 2 weeks come to a close? It's difficult. Two, the money aspect. Unity Party does not have the dollar sufficient enough to engage in move logistic wise, paying pool watchers, buying a number of things here and there. They have always, all along, asked for support. They are soliciting support to reach everywhere. If the money isn't sufficient, if they cannot collect sufficient money for sustainability, they will not have pool watchers in some, if not all of the places or most of the places. Nobody in the second round. Already there's voter apathy. There's also can be in the second round, as we have seen in previous elections, discouragement from not getting the real cash. A couple of days ago, Dillon had a a tense argument trying to persuade supporters of the Unity Party, poll watchers, that they were promised $20 and they did not get the $20. The conversation ran to and fro between Dillon and those people. So the discouragement could be a factor also. Some of the pool washers could abstain. Some of them could go about the normal business and leave it with Unity Party to do whatever they want to do. So they might not have sufficient people everywhere. That's what happened in the second round. And on we can go. Then CDC. In the short time, can CDC crisscross the entire country? No. It's exhaustion within CDC. Exhaustion may be there from a human standpoint, but not financial standpoint. CDC has the financial energy. And in the second round, the most significant thing that you need is nothing else but money. In the first round, you can do a number of things. You know why money in the second round? Because you got limited time. You don't have it's just like you are at the airport and the plane is about to pick up and you have just less than 5 minutes to process the remaining document. You are shuffling here and there, and everything has to be done in no time so that you don't miss your flight. That's how the second round is. 2 weeks. Look when Neck announced. What did she say? The first round, she said when she announced the campaign, when she announced campaign officially open, and she announced what day from the day she announced it, 5 days in between. What did she say on Monday? That Monday she announced it, eh? Monday. She said campaign starts today. The first round, she did not say campaign start today. She said campaign start on today. From the day she announced it to the time the campaign started, 5 days in between. Everybody was waiting for the campaign. The second round, she said campaign starts today. In essence, by the time we have to do everything is short. NEC itself is running, it has limited time to do everything. So finance here with dialogues. CDC can reach all of the political parties. The two political parties can crisscross the entire country. Yeah. So you know what works best in second round, as we have seen, as studies have shown good in Liberia and other regional countries. You know what? The only medium that everybody uses the most in the second round. You know what is that? Let me give you a quiz as we close. Technology. The radio is used the most in the second round. You got limited time. You got 15 counties. These 15 counties, look at the geography. Look at how they are laid out. Some of those districts, you have 16, 17, 18 villages, clans. Some of them, they are remote. You need time crier. You need your people to be moving. The stand-up barrack can go anywhere. We can crisscross the entire country in 2 weeks. Joe Barker can run through the 15 counties in 2 weeks. Just moving from here to go to a given county, where that county is, sometimes you spend 8 hours, 9 hours on the road, and you have not reached your destination yet. And some of the areas you are arriving in the evening. And given that we don't have electricity all over, you don't want to take risks. So by the time your program is over, it's in the night. You don't want to take risks. So you will sleep. 3 days gone. Before you can realize it, you are in the second week. You are about to start wrapping up. You have not gone anywhere. You have not gone anywhere. Time is not in your favor. So in second round, what people do, they take advantage of those small stations everywhere. Community radio, well, where they have internet, well, take advantage of people stationed in those areas because sensitization will take place. Not much of it now because you have only two persons on the ballot. So it will not be hard to go there and say that only two persons. Unlike the first round, you have 20 persons. So the people needed to actually educate the people on how to vote. This time around, it's easy. You don't have to tell anybody, yes, Joe Barker, yes, George, the people already know. But you have people on the ground to still do other things, guide them, and sensitize them, run the campaign, and on and on. So if you see Unity Party and the other people, what they're doing, they're taking advantage of most of those radio stations in the African setting, and even in some European settings that we have been opportune to have education. In the second round, they take advantage. In fact, in some countries, you know what the people do? If the opposition has the money, they take all the radio stations. So there'll be no way for the status quo to go. Sometimes the status quo will take all the radio stations. So if you have 37 community radios, or you have 100 radios in all of the counties, you have community radio in all of the countries, you know what they're going to do? They're going to engage all of those radios. That's what they're going to do to push their agenda. People wake up in the morning, they're hearing about that opposition. They wake up in the morning, they're hearing about the government. They're hearing about Joe Barker. They're hearing about George Weah. They wake up, they're going on the farm, even on the small radio, hearing President Weah. He has done this, he has done it. So, what's going to happen is the image of those two people or the images of those people going to be in the mind. So, when the ballot paper appear before them, they say, oh, but the radio was talking. President Weah, Bay Hospital, President Weah coming to school in our district. I want the radio was talking. I'm voting for President Weah. Or we listen to the radio. The radio say, Joe Barker say, when he become president, he will build a hospital. We ain't got clinic in our district. The client ain't got clinic. So he's saying you will bring it here. The thing the radio talking that you will vote for Joe Barker. Because you know what? They have the time. Joe Barker can go crisscross the entire country in less than 2 weeks because it's less. President Weah and his people can crisscross the country in less than 2 weeks. Already, those guys are tired. They're tired. You know what I mean? 2 months plus, you're running all over the country. You can hardly rest. No matter what, I don't care how you try. You get tired. Even Jesus Christ himself got tired. He rested. Then why more about us? Running here and there. You in car. You sitting down. You sit down for 5 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours. Sometimes you have to move, like we heard, one of the parties use helicopter. That long hours. You sitting there, you can suffer from that jet lag. So long hours. All of these can have impact on your body. So you need time to rest. You can't kill yourself for the place you want to go before you can get there. You need time to rest. So all of these things, that's why you see the atmosphere, you can see enthusiasm outside. You can see people, hey, no, people relax. They just waiting. Some people say, but we finish with it. Mission accomplished. This second round here, let them try now. Let them do what they can do. Up to them, and they are only two, so they can go ahead. They're not plenty again. Simple as that.
Okay, that's all the time we have this morning for this program. My name is Chris Phillips Joshua. To join us tomorrow for another edition. Those that follow us via Facebook, we extend our thanks and appreciation as well. Uh, Thank you for always making this program a success. Until we meet you again tomorrow, have a nice day.